In a time of ancient Greece, a young prince was destined to change the world. Alexander the Great, son of Philip I of Macedonia, would become one of history's most renowned conquerors. Alexander the Great, born in 356 BC in Pella, the ancient capital of Macedonia, ascended to power through a combination of natural intelligence, military prowess, and strategic alliances. His rise began under the guidance of his father, King Philip I, a powerful ruler and military leader who unified Macedonia and expanded its influence throughout Greece. Philip prepared Alexander for leadership by providing him with an excellent education, even arranging for Aristotle to be his personal tutor. Under Aristotle's instruction, Alexander developed a keen intellect, a love for philosophy, and an appreciation for Greek culture, all of which would influence his later conquests. When Alexander was only 20, Philip I was assassinated, and Alexander was declared king. His early rule faced immediate challenges. Several Greek city-states saw an opportunity to break away from Macedonian dominance, viewing Alexander as young and inexperienced. However, he swiftly consolidated his power, moving to quell revolts and reasserting Macedonian control over Greece. One of his first major acts was to destroy the city of Thebes as a warning to others, solidifying his reputation for both ruthlessness and resolve. Having established his authority in Greece, Alexander set his sights on the Persian Empire, one of the largest and most powerful empires of the time. With a vision of expanding his empire and spreading Greek culture, Alexander embarked on a campaign that would define his legacy. His ambition, strategic acumen, and charismatic leadership would soon make him a legendary figure known as Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great's conquests began in 330 BC, marking one of the most ambitious military campaigns in history. His goal: to overthrow the mighty Persian Empire and expand Macedonian rule. Armed with a well-trained army and strategic genius, Alexander crossed into Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey, where he would secure his first victory against the Persians at the Battle of Granicus. This victory allowed him to take control of Asia Minor and set the tone for his campaign. In 333 BC, Alexander faced King Darius I of Persia in the Battle of Issus. Despite being outnumbered, Alexander's tactical brilliance led his forces to victory, forcing Darius to flee and leaving Alexander in control of key Persian territories. Rather than merely conquering, Alexander sought to integrate these regions by adopting aspects of Persian dress and customs, showing his desire to blend Greek and Persian cultures. Alexander then marched south into Egypt, where he was welcomed as a liberator and even declared a pharaoh. During his time in Egypt, he founded the city of Alexandria, which would become a cultural and intellectual center of the ancient world. In 331 BC, the decisive Battle of Gaugamela took place. Alexander's forces clashed with Darius's army, which was much larger. However, Alexander's military tactics and unrelenting drive led him to a monumental victory, effectively ending Persian power and allowing him to claim the title of King of Asia. From Persia, he continued his campaign into Central Asia and then into India, where he fought his last major battle, the Battle of the Hydaspes, against King Porus in 326 BC. Although he emerged victorious, this grueling campaign marked the beginning of his end. His exhausted troops, longing to return home, refused to march further east, though Alexander eventually relented and turned back. His empire now stretched from Greece to northwestern India. Alexander's conquests transformed the ancient world, spreading Greek culture across 3 continents and blending it with local customs to create what is known as Hellenistic culture, lasting legacy that shaped art, science, and philosophy for centuries. Alexander the Great's plans were driven by a blend of ambition, vision, and a desire to achieve both personal glory and the unification of cultures. His goals extended beyond simply conquering territory. He sought to create a vast empire that would blend Greek and non-Greek cultures under one rule, fostering a new, interconnected world. One key motivation for Alexander was his admiration for Greek culture and a belief in its superiority. Educated by Aristotle, he grew up with a love for Greek philosophy, science, and arts, and he wanted to spread these ideas throughout the known world by founding cities in the lands he conquered, such as the iconic Alexandria in Egypt. He aimed to create hubs of Greek culture and learning that would influence and uplift local societies. Another goal was to establish himself as a world ruler with divine status. As he journeyed into Egypt, the Egyptians recognized him as a pharaoh, which strengthened his belief in his own divinity. This belief inspired him to portray himself as a godlike figure, bridging East and West as a ruler with both Greek and Persian qualities. In adopting Persian customs and attire, Alexander also aimed to demonstrate respect for the diverse people he governed. hoping to win their loyalty and encourage a unified empire. Alexander's ambitions went beyond practical conquest to envision a global cultural fusion. He encouraged marriages between his soldiers and local women to blend Greek and local bloodlines, symbolizing his ideal of a mixed, harmonious empire. This fusion laid the groundwork for the Hellenistic Age, a period characterized by the blending of Greek and Eastern cultures, which led to advances in art, science, and philosophy. In essence, Alexander's plans were not only about expanding his empire, but about reshaping the world into a new cultural and political landscape, combining the strengths of different civilizations under a unified rule. This vision was bold and revolutionary. Alexander the Great's legacy is profound and far-reaching, influencing the ancient world and leaving a cultural impact that has endured for centuries. After his death in 323 BC at the young age of 32, Alexander left behind an empire that stretched from Greece across the Middle East to the edges of India, encompassing diverse cultures, languages, and peoples. Though his empire was divided soon after his death, the influence of his conquests shaped the Hellenistic world. One of the most notable aspects of Alexander's legacy was the spread of Greek culture, language, and ideas across the regions he conquered. This blending of Greek and Eastern cultures is known as Hellenization. In the cities he founded, like Alexandria in Egypt, Greek became the lingua franca, while art, architecture, philosophy, and science flourished under Greek influence. Alexandria itself became a renowned center for learning and culture, home to the famous Library of Alexandria and a thriving intellectual community. Alexander also inspired future leaders and military strategists with his unmatched tactical skills and bravery. Figures such as Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, and even more recent military leaders have studied his campaigns and strategies, viewing him as a model of military genius. His bold vision of uniting different cultures under one rule, though cut short, influenced later attempts to forge large empires based on diverse populations. Philosophically, Alexander promoted the idea of a shared world where people of various backgrounds could coexist under one rule, embracing a form of cultural and intellectual exchange. This vision, though difficult to achieve fully, resonated through the Hellenistic Age and beyond, planting seeds for a more interconnected world. In sum, Alexander's legacy was not only in his conquests, but in the enduring cultural and intellectual exchanges he ignited, shaping the foundations of the Western and Eastern worlds. How much do you think our world would have changed if Alexander had lived a little longer? And do you think his ideas are correct? Write in the comments. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, we have many more interesting